And the first thing that we need is a piece of polystyrene. Polystyrene, it's got a nice thickness, about 50 mils. That's important because that's where your strength is going to come from, the thickness. So our table, we've decided, is going to be 990. That's going to be the length, and the depth is going to be 600. So here we go. First one, Garth, let's do the first measurement across here.
All right. What we should do, Tanya, is just to get a straight line, we'll give them 100 from each edge.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So we're not going crooked.
Yeah, like that.
Lovely. Pop it on there, and then I can just mark this. Right, and that's going to be our 990. Okay. Bottom line is, folks, here is our piece of polystyrene. From there to there is 990, and from here to here is 600. All we need to do now is take our faithful jigsaw and cut this out along the lines. Now, pop this oak. And now, the centerpiece that we've got is not going to go to waste, because what we're needing is, remember, that inlay, which is going to become our planter. So what we need to do to create a cavity is just cut a strip off this, which is going to get sunk into our mold. We've measured it's 200 across. And this is going to go in the center. Don't worry about the exact positioning now. That we'll get right a little bit later. But first up, we need our cornicing now, which we're going to work out to go on the inside measurements of this. And that's important, the inside measurements. Let's get that, Garth. All right, what we've got here is polystyrene cornicing, which you can get from your local hardware store. What we're going to do now is cut a 45. We've measured the inside, is that right?
That's correct.
It's
yes.
the inside and the inside measurements of our polystyrene. So much easier. Good. Okay, so there we go. Perfect 45 on that edge. And we've got other 45s, and obviously when you join them together, you get a
90.
Good job. All right. So he's going to go here. Okay. And remembering, when you're putting these guys in, just make sure that your mold all follows the same. So that's going to go there. And then that baby in there. Good job.
It does.
Okay, and then all we make sure is that it lines up here on the inside, because the inside is going to determine the precision of our mold. Now, to make sure that this guy stays where we want it to, we're just going to get a few screws and literally attach one side to the other. All right, folks, so what we said was that we needed something to go on the outer edge of this. What we've done is we've already cut up the planks. What needs to happen is this guy will fit exactly there. I'll show you exactly how it's going to work. That guy will go there, and then these two, one on the edge and one on the other edge. What we're going to do now is just get two screws, pop it in this side, so that we've got a full block that we can then work with. Right, here we have box all the way around our piece of polystyrene. That is going to sit in the middle. Now what we need to do is to take some more of our cornicing and create another box that is going to go around that, making sure that we've got the mold the same direction as what we did here. So in this case, we've got these little squares. They're going to be facing down the same as those little squares. Put it together, and to keep it in place, Garth, you've got your screws there. Make sure they're nice and snug, and then bang them together. So to make things simpler, all we've got is some bit of pine. We're going to pop that on either side. It's basically just going to give us a bit of support. So there we go. Let's take that out. That goes over there. So he's ready. Inner, outer, inner, outer. Okay, all the hard work is done. Now all we've got to do is go and get our concrete mixture ready. The mixture that we're needing to prepare for our tabletop is going to be as follows. So we've got half a bucket of cement, we've got half a bucket of fine river sand, and we've got a quarter bucket of small 13mm building stone. Lovely. for this table, we're really wanting quite a smooth finish on top, which is why we're using less stone. And the consistency as well is quite runny. That's what we want. All right, guys, take this out. Centerpiece. Beautiful. Okay, what we do now is we just spread this out to form our bottom layer. That's important. Should do that. Now we take this little guy, pop him in here. Bob's your uncle. Put the rest of the concrete in. Just work it in nicely there. And at the end, take a mallet, bang it a few times, can't go wrong. Folks, the most important thing you need to worry about with this guy, which is the cavity forming piece of polystyrene, is that it must be level with the outer edge of your cornice. The easiest way, the simplest way to keep it in place, pop a brick on it, bang, there it is, bang, in place, not going to move, and we can just carry on. Right, this guy's nearly good to go. All you've got to do, smooth off the edges, get a nice finish, as smooth as you can, and then you're going to leave it to dry for at least 3 days. Once we filled that one, let's just start filling this guy over here. Remember, we're filling in the gaps here. Right, a few taps with the rubber mallet to make sure we've got all the air pockets out. And we should be good to go. All we do now, leave it for about 3 days until it starts going grey. Right, folks, this is one that we made 3 days earlier. It's dried enough. You can see the colour has changed. Now, all we've got to do is take off all the moulding and boxing, and let's take a look at our tabletop. Give it a shake on that end, gently. And if you really want to, you can just hook it on the edges here. Pry it off. Ooh, you beauty. Look at that. Look, look, look. Ba-dam. What a beauty. Garth, this is quite a work of art.
I think we started a new craze here.
Okay, let's get this middle bit out. And this might be a bit more challenging. But work off the edges. Just get a kind of area where you can get the trowel in. Take a bit out. And then once you've got that, then the rest should be okay. Take these screws out on the edges. This we're going to be putting on top of the table because this is going to form our planter. But before we do that, we need to do the following. We need to just turn them over. We're going to put a bit of slurry along here. The slurry is just going to make sure that when we put it on top, it's going to stick there like glue. Remember, the mixture that we've used here, which we call a slurry, is basically just dry cement powder with a wee bit of water. And alrighty, here we go. So let's take that in there. That's the one. Turn the baby over. And on he goes. And here is our planter on top of the tabletop. All right, what I've got here is just a bit of granular paint from our local hardware store, and this is just going to finish it off really nicely. Nice, Garth.
Very nice, Tanya.
How's the front looking?
Very cool.
Beautiful.
Lovely.
Now, all we've got to do is leave our cement textured paint to dry. That needs about 4 to 5 hours. We found the perfect spot for our little tabletop, right here on the lawn with gorgeous views in the background. Garth has drilled a couple of holes in it, and that's all we need. Now, the next step is as follows. I've got in here a mixture of potting soil with some bone meal already mixed in it, and I'm going to just put in a little bit inside my container, and at this point, you only need to fill it up halfway. Remember, one of the biggest mistakes we make when we are planting up any container is that we fill it right to the top with potting soil. Remember, you still got to fit a plant inside there. And with the plant volume, you're going to end up having to remove half the soil and dig it out like a Jack Russell being let loose in your garden. So, right. So, center plant I'm using is this awesome chili. I mean, take a look at this baby. And I've been told that it's quite fiery. So, this little baby is going to go right here. Lovely, with it over the edges a bit. Perfect height. And you see, that's why we don't fill it all the way to the top. Now, that is my main plant that I'm putting in. The next one I'm putting in is this gorgeous lemon thyme. Just give it a... Oh, man, it's so beautifully fragrant. Let's take it out the bag. All right. Tease the roots a little because it is quite root bound. Just helps the plant to settle in and allows it to grow much quicker. And this gorgeous chap can go right here. Look at that, already going over the edges. Isn't it amazing how as soon as you add plants into something, how it's just going to soften it? Immediately you can see that effect. Take my little scoop, pop a bit of soil in on the sides here to make sure we filled it up properly. Hold your plant back gently and then just scoop it in. Now, the one thing that we always have handy, you know, when you're doing containers, is to have a little paintbrush. Not only is it going to be used, take away the excess, but you take it here, you can just push down the soil to make sure it's getting in all those little corners. Right, while we're here, take the other end, just get it all in, then just fluff out the plant, and it's looking lovely. And for a burst of color, I've got these little guys. This is called capsicum salsa. You can see why it's called salsa. A dwarf little chili. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Pop him in here. I've got another little chap that I'm going to pop in right here. Use the scoop once again to fill it up because that's all I'm going to add in the form of permanent plants in here. And the rest are just going to be fillers. Right, that's filled in nicely. And just brush it off once again. And then for my filler plants, we're going to use the following. I've got a couple little perennial lettuce here. Beautiful, frilly lettuce. You know how much money we spend every year buying these guys from the shops. Why not just grow your own? Here you're getting 9 little plants. Great for hanging baskets and containers. Remember, within 2 weeks, you'll be picking your first lettuce off this guy. And remember, these little guys will go in your garden for up to 2 to 3 months, giving you loads and loads of fresh lettuce for you and your family. And finally, I'm going to put in this beautiful little alyssum. This is a little perennial, and what I'm going to do is, did you know alyssum has the most beautiful fragrant flowers? The white will just offset here against the base of the chili. Oh, alyssum will cascade all the way down, right over here, lovely and fragrant. So while you're sitting around your table, you'll also get those awesome, awesome perfumes. And one more little guy, just right here. And there we have it, final little bit. Clean it off with your paintbrush. All it needs is a good water. As I said, these permanent plants in here are the chilies, your thyme. Your things that you're going to interchange are your lettuce and your alyssum. Of course, you could go with anything. You could put a spinach bright lights inside here, 1 or 2 plants. Beautiful colors on their stems, the most vibrant, vibrant colors. You could pop a few chives in here, really anything, or you could go with more herbs. Maybe a lavender or 2 would be wonderful. At the end of the day, you're wanting something that's fragrant, that's tactile, that's tangible. So when you touch it, you get the smell, because that's what brings gardening alive. Right, Holly, I don't suggest that you eat the chilies. Not good for dogs. Right, folks, so everything's planted up, looking gorgeous. Remember, all that it needs is a good watering, and whenever you can, please make sure that you do give it some liquid pot plant food. It's really important that whatever the instructions say, that you follow it. If it says water it once a week with the liquid pot plant food, then you do so. Remember, if it's going to be out in the sun like this guy is, it's probably going to need water every day or every second day.